And welcome back to our second episode. Like I said at the end of the first one, we were going to talk a little bit about what is magnetic hematite jewelry. If you stick around, we'll be back to talk about it.
Combining relief and style. This is the Jewelry Lady Podcast Show. The latest news in fashion jewelry and magnetic therapy for the health-minded person. Now, here are your hosts, John and Rhonda.
And welcome back. Hi, Rhonda.
Hi, John.
I love to always see you, but I get to see you every day.
You do?
Yeah, that's a blessing in itself.
Yes, as long as you don't get sick of it, we keep coming back.
I know. Hey, we left the episode, the first one, talking about what is magnetic hematite jewelry. And I know I go to a lot of shows with you, and that's one of the things that a lot of people say is, what is it? I know you have a great answer. I struggle with a little bit more. Can you kind of explain to everybody what it is? And
I can give you a basic answer. What hematite is raw hematite is actually iron oxide. Iron oxide itself cannot be magnetized. So what they do with hematite, natural hematite, is actually ground. It's made into a mineral composite, which includes natural ground hematite. It can be permanently magnetized, and then it's formed into detailed shapes so you can make jewelry out of it.
Now, raw, and I don't mean to interrupt you, because raw hematite, that's basically iron ore, right? Like a derivative of it? It's
Correct.
Ore?
Correct.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is.
I think that'll help everybody else kind of understand where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a dark material, can be a light material, even a red material.
Right.
And then they kind of heat it.
Exactly.
Right? Process it.
They heat it up to process it, and it makes a very nice, luxurious stone to make jewelry out of, and that's why a lot of people like it for just the look of the stone, because it polishes up very nicely and it can be magnetized. The stone itself is mainly still hematite, or a lot of people call it hema-like for that reason.
Because it's like hematite.
Because it's like hematite, but it's not true hematite.
But it is.
Because it is.
Because it has ground derivatives of hematite.
Exactly.
So
yeah, but it is a beautiful stone. I love it just because the looks of it.
Oh yeah, and that's the one thing. Before I even knew it was magnet, you know, we were talking about the first show about how we went to a show and saw a woman selling it. Before I walked up and realized, hey, that's a magnetic jewelry, I was like, those are pretty sharp. That's kind of different. It has a different look than your typical necklaces and jewelry. And then the minute I picked it up and realized it's stuck to a metal plate, it was like, oh, that's crazy. So what is this?
Right. You know, and along with hematite, you know, the other characteristics of hematite, it also comes in different strengths. And when you're measuring the magnetic strength of magnetic hematite, it's measured in gauss rate, and it comes in different strengths like regular power or high power. Regular power can range anywhere between 600 and 800 gauss rate, and if you're comparing that to a refrigerator magnet, regular power would probably be equivalent to that. If you're wanting to make jewelry, I would suggest you want to do high power magnetic beads, because your gauss rate is around 3,000 to 4,000 surface rate, and you need a higher power bead, and you need to stop that, because this is really important stuff.
I was starting to fall asleep here. It's just you were getting so scientific here. So,
well, if you want health benefit from it, that's important. You need some magnetic gauze strength in there to have some kind of health benefit.
And I'm glad you brought up the strength, because I've helped you look for parts, look for hematite beads, and the really good hematite beads are hard to find.
They are very hard to find.
Yeah, yes. Real strong ones. In the process of going out on the internet and looking around, I also come across pre-made hematite jewelry, a lot of it coming from China. And what I'm amazed by, some of those pieces, and some of the pieces that we received as samples, just to see, to compare to what we're making, I was kind of surprised by the weakness of it, and they're not as strong and they're not as well made. And I think
they're not as bright and they're not as polished. I've been burned many times before I found suppliers that I knew that I could trust to order from. But yeah, it's a tough market. It took me a long time to find somebody I could trust to order them from.
And it is a tough market. When we go to fairs, there's other people who are selling magnetic jewelry. And because I'm always looking for product, I recognize a lot of the jewelry, and a lot of it I do see pre-made directly from China. So I always worry, come over to our booth because it's almost like double the price. And you can say, well, geez, you can, for, $10, they can go over there and buy it. And what they don't realize is that, one, they're being made by somebody who just doesn't care.
Right. And they're getting their $10 worth.
And they're getting their $10 worth. The other one is they're not getting as strong as a magnetic bracelet as they should be receiving. And then the third thing is we warranty our products. So that's what makes us different. And I know we're kind of going off the subject because today we were going to talk about magnetic jewelry and what it is. But what I want to say, though, is some of those products that you're buying out there, they're not warranted because they're buying it from China. Right. And we warranty it. Could you, just because I brought it up, could you just kind of explain the warranty? I know we're going off subject, but just kind of explain the warranty.
Okay. The warranty is I warranty for 60 days against clasp failure, or if you buy a piece that has a pendant or any stones in it that, say, a stone cracks or breaks or falls out, I'll replace it at no charge. If anything's going to fail, it's going to do it in the first 60 days if it's not secured tightly. And I will replace it, no questions asked. Times I go beyond that, as long as it's
don't tell them that, and then everybody will be doing that. No, I'm just kidding.
But, as long as you're not treating it like a gorilla or anything like that, and using common sense, and I stand behind what I make. I want you to be happy. I want you to come back. So,
yeah, and that's the one thing I'm very impressed with. You were actually doing this before I got my hands involved in it. I was working, of course. I was always impressed on how you took care of the customer. And I thought that was pretty cool. I feel bad if something happens. I really do. I feel really bad for the customer, and I don't want anybody to be disappointed. And that's the difference between you making the product and caring about what you're putting into it. When you go out and you look for the true hematite magnetic bead, you're looking for quality. You're not looking for something that would fall in the ground and crack because it was a weaker product. You're not looking for something that's a weaker magnet. I mean, we could do that. If people are looking for the $10 jewelry and they want to buy the $10 jewelry, we could do that. We could actually go to China, buy stuff all day long, and not spend our evenings and your days making jewelry that you want people to like and love and have for a long time.
But I do got to back you up here. But if you do drop it on the ground and you drop it on concrete, it is a stone.
True, it is a stone. But we're also talking about quality too.
Right.
There are those stones that I've seen hardly hit the ground at all, and they pretty much shatter.
Right.
Ours can take some abuse, but not a lot of abuse. Because you're right, it is a stone.
Stone meets stone, it could crack.
Absolutely. So I want to go back because I got us out of the subject and talked about your warranty and talked about, could you, the strength or the grade of the bead, can you explain that a little bit more? I know I mentioned there's different grades. I mentioned that some of the Chinese stuff out there is not as good. What are the different, is there different grades?
There are different grades. They have grade A, grade AA, and grade AAA.
And what is that?
Grade A is the lowest grade, and it is like the bottom of the barrel. Those are the leftover beads that just kind of didn't make anything. They're kind of the low luster. They have some scratches in them. Really, they shouldn't be anywhere. I don't even know why they're on the market because they're just kind of icky.
And we've ordered from some suppliers that we haven't ordered from before, thinking we were getting a good product, and we were like,
oh, these aren't worth anything.
No, we're never going to be buying from these people again.
Right.
Because we care.
Right.
And that's what I'm not being arrogant. We care about what we make.
And then you have grade AA. AA is, it's a fair bead. They're a high polished bead. They might have a few beads here and there that might have some flaws. And then you have a AAA bead, where it's like every bead that you order in that bunch is like super high polished, no flaws, and it's just elite beads all the way through. And that's what I try to order all the time when possible.
Right.
Not every style of bead it's possible to order in AAA, so you have to just go to AA. But when I can, I order AAA beads just because it looks nice. The shinier, the better.
And the better strength.
And the better strength.
Yeah, which is important.
Right.
Now, why is the strength of the bead so important? Because we've been talking about it.
Right.
And I'm sure people are like, okay, I get it. There's some beads that are weaker. There's some that are higher. What does it matter? I don't really care about a gauze, but what does it matter?
Well, they've done a lot of blind studies on what's the appropriate gauze strength to get any kind of therapeutic benefit from wearing any magnetic bracelet or necklace. And some say you need at least 20,000 gauze strength in any one piece of jewelry to make any beneficial improvement. And how you figure that out is you take the gauze strength of each bead and you multiply it by the number of beads on that piece of jewelry. And my average pieces of jewelry range anywhere from 10 to some are 30 to 40,000 gauze pieces. And they say the minimum is 10, some say 20. But, it's a matter of preference. It's a matter of opinion.
And a matter of someone's pain.
Exactly.
Right. Because if they're just relying on this magnetic hematite beads for their pain, and they're not relying on modern medicine, then they really need to go talk to their doctor. If they're not seeing any kind of result or anything, that they really need to go talk to the doctor, and they should be talking to their doctor anyways. Because I say this all the time. This isn't a cure-all. This isn't a cure.
Always talk to your doctor.
Always talk to your doctor. Tell them what you're up to, and go from there.
And everybody knows their own body. Nobody knows your own body better than you do.
Right. That should be it for today. I appreciate that you came back and listened to us. I do hope that you come and see our third show. Our next show will be about how to care for magnetic jewelry, and actually how to care for our jewelry and some of the things that we see that doesn't always turn well for the customer when we get a return on it, and now we have to fix it. So we'll discuss some of those kind of returns that we see and what we think. But I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to add to the end?
No, but you'll be surprised. It's actually a pretty interesting show. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll be posting some of our new jewelry, and as always, I link it to this. So go ahead and take a look, and you'll see some of the newer products that we've been making.
Okay.
So we'll see you next show, and again, it's going to be about magnetic jewelry and how to care for it.
This has been the Jewelry Lady Podcast Show. Want more? Check out our hottest jewelry at www.thejewelryladyforyou.com. Join us again next time for another episode with John and Rhonda about fashion jewelry and magnetic therapy for the health-minded person.